You know that moment, when someone pushes you just far enough. Not enough to fight them. Not enough to quit, but enough that something inside you quietly snaps. This is the story of how an 18-year-old kid, trapped in the middle of nowhere with a bullying supervisor, decided not to fight back with fists, but with pure, unfiltered psychological terror. And the sound he made when he woke up. I'll never forget it. When I was 18 years old, I landed what felt like a miracle job. Early 2000s. Canadian oil patch. $20 an hour. No experience. No education. Minimum wage was under $6 at the time. The job was called well testing. For anyone unfamiliar, the work itself wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. You hook up pressure tanks and flare stacks to new oil and gas wells, flow them, record data, and ship it off to companies that make more money in a day than you'll see in a lifetime. The physical part was brutal, setting up and tearing down equipment, but once everything was running, most of the job was monitoring gauges, logging numbers, and computer work. For a first real job, it was gold, except for one thing. Gary. Meet the antagonist. Gary. Gary was my assigned supervisor. Mid-50s. Overweight. Mean-spirited. And a full-blown alcoholic. Our crew setup was simple. 2 men, 12-hour shifts. 1 laborer. 1 supervisor. I was the laborer. Gary was, technically, the supervisor. In reality, he did as little as humanly possible. He only helped when something was so heavy I physically couldn't lift it alone, like the 250-pound pipes. The rest of the time, he lived in the trailer, watching DVDs, napping, waking up once an hour to type a few numbers into a computer. And when he wasn't ignoring me, he was picking at me. Jokes, he called them. They were insults. I'm not a small guy, about 6'1", but back then I had a baby face and absolutely zero confidence. Gary noticed immediately. I was stupid, useless, slow. One day, he found out I'd never used a power drill before. He laughed and said, "Didn't your dad teach you anything?" I made the mistake of telling him my father had only been around for a few years of my life. The next time I messed up, he smirked and said, "Well, no wonder your dad walked out on you." I finally snapped and called him out on it. Like every bully ever, Gary shrugged and said, "What, can't take a joke?" The daily grind from hell. We worked far from cities, deep country jobs. That meant every night we ate together in whatever small town bar or diner we could find. Gary drank. Every night. A lot. 2 drinks in, he could almost be human. Even friendly. But he never stopped. Eventually, he was so hungover every morning that I ended up driving his truck to work. Here's the fun part. Gary got paid per kilometer, sometimes over $1 per kilometer. And we drove anywhere from 100 to 350 kilometers a day. I got minimum wage for travel time. He slept like a bloated corpse in the passenger seat while I drove his truck, earning him hundreds of dollars a day. If I ever brought it up, "I'm the boss," then he'd roll over and pass out again. This went on for 3 months. 3 months of insults. 3 months of being trapped with him. 3 months of needing the job too badly to walk away. I didn't react. I just got quiet, and anyone who's ever been pushed long enough knows that silence isn't peace, it's pressure. Part 1. The power of love doesn't work. Some people believe you can defeat cruelty with kindness. Those people have never worked with someone like Gary. Every time I stayed calm, he escalated. Every time I ignored him, he pushed harder. That's when I realized something important. You can't outlove someone who enjoys hurting you. One night, while we were out of town, we were eating. Dinner. I casually mentioned that it was pretty lame he slept while I drove his truck and collected the money. I suggested, politely, that maybe he could kick a few bucks my way. Gary exploded. He unleashed months of bottled rage in one sitting. He insulted me. He mocked my family. He threatened my job. And for the first time, I cracked. I was young. I was exhausted. And yeah, I cried. Not sobbing. Just angry, humiliating tears. That night, something inside me flipped. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted out. But the universe had other plans. The opportunity. The next morning, Gary was passed out as usual. I drove. About 30 kilometers from the job site, I spotted something beautiful on the side of the highway. A semi-truck. Engine running. Trucker standing outside. An idea formed instantly. I pulled over casually. Gary didn't stir. I got out, walked over to the trucker, and explained, quickly, that I needed his help with a harmless prank to scare a guy who'd been sleeping in my truck. The trucker grinned. Oh hell yeah. I repositioned Gary's truck so we were nearly bumper to bumper, facing the semi. Then I climbed back inside.